I need a room and a fire.
I don't want to talk about fire, man.
Hello my friends, and welcome back to Player Display, and oh boy, today's the day I finally got my Big Bad Toy Store shipment, and with it came NECA's Ultimate Invisible Man from 1933, not to be confused with the remake that I don't want to talk about, but I have been waiting for this figure for a very long time, and I am so thrilled to see this very nice packaging with the very good retro poster on the front. Yeah, now we can finally add him to our collection of Universal Monsters. I think that makes 4, correct me if I'm wrong. I mean, that's excluding ones that are still on pre-order, like, again, Dracula, Phantom of the Opera, Bride of Frankenstein. There's a lot more to look forward to. I think there was also a creature from the Black Lagoon teaser some time ago, so we can expect our new aquatic friend very soon, I'm hoping. So of course, with Invisible Man, I got a whole bunch of other action figures for us to unbox, a few at a time. I'm probably not going to do unboxings for all of them because, you know, they're my toys and want to play with them, but, well, at the very least, have a look at every box before I dispose of them or whatever. But for now, here we are with Claude Rains, and we're going to have a look, and hopefully he's still inside. So again, we have a very nice poster over here, again, the universal motif of having the monster's looming head at the top, and down here, it's actually not just a passed out woman this time. This time we have 2 of our male leads. We've got Kemp and then the angel from It's a Wonderful Life. And then we have Flora, who is actually awake and looking like she's contributing to the overall plot. On the side, we get our first image of Invisible Man. This side here he is again with a very awesome head sculpt that I'm really looking forward to looking at. Well, I'm looking forward to looking at a lot of things that are ironically supposed to not be seen. Interesting how that works. On the back, even more promo shots with a very good Invisible Man logo on the top right corner. On the top, you get a theatrical poster version of Claude Rains once more. Then you got Invisible Man again with NECA. On the bottom, hey, welcome back! It looks like we have our old friends
Green Arrow.
And of course, what's a box without
Sword onions!
Okay, let's go ahead and break my favorite Universal monster of all time, Jack Griffin, out of his cardboard and plastic prison. So, it's a Universal box, all open the same way. Got the tape along the top. Fold that open, pull a little bit. Oh, yeah, and of course there's a display window that shows you the figure. I always forget to show that off, but yeah, there you are. A nice portrait of the Invisible Man there with a few select accessories. And over here you get everything that comes with this very magical and bombastic man of ours that we are going to be looking at today. So now fold open a little cardboard slot, and then just slide everything out like a good shoebox. And here we are. And now everything looks very nice and secure in the packaging. Nothing's rolling out like Jango Fett from before from Figuarts. But you could see that there are 2 separate bubbles on the side to hold in the smaller pieces to be extra sure that you don't lose them to your carpet. And then up here we have, of course, the main figure that is bound by some plastic bits over there. And then also our 2 alternate head sculpts. I can't say that I necessarily like these plastic bubbles. Oh, in this case, no problem. But yes, push it a little bit from the back. Head pops out. There we are. And then down here, I don't think there's any tape. Nope, no tape. So just pull it right off. We'll go ahead and just dump all those out. Oop, let's not lose anybody today. Same over here. No tape. Gonna be a little more careful because these accessories are very small, especially that nose. Again, we'll give them all their time to shine once everybody's out. And then, oh, what's this over here? He has extra schnozzes. What do you know? Huh, I never knew that. Okay, we'll see what those are all about when we look at all the accessories. That is interesting. I've never seen a NECA figure come with extra accessories on the off chance that you lose something. That is crazy to me. Unfortunately, I forgot my wire cutters on the other side of the door, so I'm just going to go ahead and use nail clippers. You know what, this is going to take a very long time. Let's just wait until I'm done. You don't need to see this embarrassing moment of mine. Okay, that should be everyone. So now it looks like his wrists are kind of cuffing out to the back side of the plastic bubble. I usually like to start with the feet. I don't know why I didn't start with that. Just pull them both out, almost like he's riding his X-Wing, and then kind of just use a little bit of power. There we go. Okay, here we are. Now let me screw around with Jack Griffin for a second, and we'll see what we have here. Oh, NECA. I remember you in your baby days back in 2012, 2011, where you opened a figure and you were never too sure if a joint was gonna break, if a head or a limb was gonna pop off. But now here we are in 2023 with an absolutely remarkable addition to the Universal Monsters line. And they did my guy well. This is really, really good. Enough rambling, let's go ahead and show you what he is and who he is as we look at one of the most quotable and underrated monsters within the Universal Monster Pantheon. Starting off at this head sculpt, it looks absolutely glorious. You have that really good wrapping going all the way around the head, not a single bald spot exposed of either flesh nor invisible space, I suppose. And the lenses have a really nice gloss on his goggles going on there. And then you also have his false nose perched underneath. Everything's glued down. Nothing feels like it's flopping off, sliding off. Actually, I think the goggles are slightly rubbery plastic, so they have a slight malleability to them, but honestly, it just makes the figure look nice. So that's totally fine. You have the strap for the goggles go around the head. Nothing too interesting to see there. Not that there needs to be. And then on the top, you have his tufts of hair, which are, of course, his wig, which is an extra accessory that we will look at in a moment. But yeah, they went full stop with this head sculpt, at least this first of three, and it looks really, really nice. Another thing that I really appreciate about the Invisible Man's design, every time we see him not naked, is everything feels very thrown together, very disheveled, which is very fitting for Jack Griffin's state of mind throughout the duration of the movie, which is only just over an hour long, but they squeeze a lot in there. Going down, I hope you're not too sick of suits from the Frankenstein review, but here we are with another suit, more of a tuxedo variant going on. And then, again, NECA, oh, I love you, continuing with those really good sculpting and dry brushing accent works that look excellent for this figure. Get more glossy buttons. You get, instead of a gray like we saw in Frankenstein, it's more of a navy blue that really helps the figure to shine a little bit. Again, not just a flat black. They took their care to help him stand out a little bit more from his other monster brethren. Got a little handkerchief in the pocket there, and a nice blue tie. Very good color choices for what was originally a black and white movie, where we probably don't have that original suit in any kind of museum or Smithsonian at this point. So I really appreciate when action figure lines go out of their way to sort of perhaps estimate what the colors could have been and what would have just been a nice fit for the characters. And here, everything is done really nicely. Nothing feels too jarring or out of place or as though it should be on a different character. On the back, you get a continuation of that suit. Again, more wrinkles, more sculpt details, and same goes for the sleeves. Down here, we got some nice cuffs on the wrists. Good white, well applied. Not seeing any slop. And then you have two of his hands. I think these are supposed to be lab gloves. I'm not too sure. I mean, that's kind of where his story goes, so I can only assume that much. Going down, you get some nice dress pants, this time just in a flat gray. And even without the stylistic weathering choices that was done on the upper suit, they did a really nice job at doing those wrinkles to show you that these are dress pants. Like, if you've gotten dress pants, even now, you notice very distinct wrinkles that never quite iron out, and that shows off here very good. Going on downstairs, we have the shoes, his feet, as we should probably grovel towards, and they are a really nice pair of dress shoes, which are just molded in black, no weathering. Actually, one thing I would have liked them to do is maybe somehow do a little bit of snow work, like when he first walks into that tavern. I actually have some custom accessories to throw onto him at the end of this review to sort of show him when we first see him with the hat and the trench coat, so we'll do that later. And that is the look of the base figure. Very good, exactly what we expect. Now, something that we do not expect is the difference in the accessories, which have some different choices that were made from the original product shots that we saw during the initial solicitations. So let's turn our tripod down and have a look at those. Okay, so once again, I removed the head and the two stock hands, that way we could look at everything on one surface. So here we have 3 head sculpts, a wig, an extra pair of goggles, 3 noses, which I did not expect, a book with all his psychotic scientist ramblings. We have 5 lab coat gloved hands, or whatever you'd like to call them, 2, I can only imagine winter gloves, and then also a vial of potions. So one by one, let's go ahead and look through them. First of all, there's the head sculpt that we just looked at, so not a whole lot else to see here. All of them already come in with a built-in neck that has sort of a dumbbell joint, and then it connects to what is probably a ball joint at the bottom of the body. At the bottom of the neck. And looking over here, yeah, there it is. Secondly, here's a head sculpt from when he's finally taking off all his accessories to show the entire tavern who he truly is underneath, who is absolutely nobody. And it's a very ghastly and spooky portrait. I actually really appreciate how not only is this accurate to the movie, but you also see the hair from the wig kind of flaring up. The crazier he gets, the more disheveled he becomes as he slowly starts to unravel his unseen self. And then lastly, we have the most intimidating head sculpt of them all. I'm not saying that because it's, scary, which, yeah, it is. It's one of the best shots in the entire film, but this is from when he lowers a handkerchief from his face to hide from Una O'Connor that he has no face underneath. And that was such a very good, kind of unannounced shot. That was the truly shocking, suspenseful moment for me before we got the full reveal that there is nothing left of this man to be seen. And then, of course, you got the 2 eye sockets, which are totally hollowed out, and the entire head, there's nothing going on the inside, which is very, very fitting. So I'm very worried about how this head is going to fit onto the body, but we'll get there when we get there. Moving on to the hands, these are the 2 that he came with out of the box, 2 fists, looking very nice, and he does quite a bit of punching, so that's fitting for him. Then we have these 2 more relaxed hands if he's chilling out a little bit. And then we also have this one more open hand for another accessory that we will get to that's right next to it. But to close out our collection of hands, we again have our 2 winter gloves, which are really nice. Then over here, it keeps on going. We got a loose wig that he could either be holding in one of his hands or lying down on a table. Then we have a pair of very modular goggles that you could throw on either the 2 head sculpts that do not have them. Then you also have 3 noses, which are all identical. I'm surprised that they did this. There was only 1 nose in the movie. They could have just given us 1 nose. I would have been surprised if they included only 2, but they went ahead and gave us 3, which is really generous of them. So all of them look exactly the same. There's no mold differences, no paint differences. The only paintwork that they seem to have is, yeah, they're all painted in sort of this yellow. Sorry, it's a little bit dark, but you can also see that there are those 2 lines on the side of the nose. I don't know what that's meant to resemble. Maybe branching off from the goggles, those are supposed to be nose supports or something like that. I'm not too sure. And then lastly, we have his scientist crazy book, I suppose, that is totally illegible, at least for me. I don't know, maybe someone out there is looking at this and this is the cure to COVID, who the hell knows. Nothing on the back. But then if you look closely, you got some neat little graphs, some numbers, equations, whatever you can do to find a way back. And the last piece I wanted to discuss is this vial. And somehow this has become my favorite accessory in this entire figure. And the reason why is because it's a very big surprise. In the promo shots, it was sort of, it was fine. It was like this cream yellow, it almost looked like kind of a frosting. It was acceptable. It looked good. But then they decided, I guess, to change it up. And they made the liquid a nice translucent purple, which I think is so much better. It just feels a lot more, retro science-y, very saturated. It just feels more like a dangerous chemical that one should not be ingesting into their body. And of course, he does not ingest this one. He winds up just throwing it at a wall and yelling some terms that I cannot say here, but they could apparently say back then with no backlash. And also, I think the straw was redone. Now it's silver. I think before it was kind of just a flat white, which, again, I would have been totally fine with that original accessory, but I like this one a lot more. And then as for this 5th lab coat hand, we have an open hand, and that slots over the vial or the cup or his little grape juice right there, and he holds it just fine. As for some displaying options, here he is losing his mind a little bit with the barely unraveled head of his, with the nose and eyes, or lack thereof, exposed along with his mouth, and it looks absolutely awesome. I will say it was a little bit tricky getting the head to get onto the neck socket. Not only is it a very tough fit, you really need to kind of push it from the top to get it to get on there. Otherwise, it's kind of just going to slot right off. I guess you just drop it in there and it would be fine. But also, you don't get a ton of movement at all, which is fine because in the particular shot in the movie, it was kind of just a statue anyways. So for me, I can let that go. It's how it looked in the movie. Let's also try getting the spare goggles onto this head, and they are a rubbery material, not too stiff. It takes a little bit of time. You kind of got to loop it around the hair, then pull back the string. You just have to do this in increments, little by little. Yeah, it kind of gets there. It's actually, you know what? I kind of like it crooked. I mean, that makes sense for this character. The more they take stuff off, the crazier they look. So this is just fine by me. So then here he is with no head, of course, to show off as he first looked when he took all of his gauze and his goggles and his nose off. And yeah, obviously take a head off any figure, then yeah, it'll look like it has an invisible head naturally. But they went out of their way to be sure that the peg is nice and deep within the torso, so that way when you're looking at him straight on, it looks like there's no peg or extra toy kibble to sort of destroy that illusion. So that looks just fine if you prefer to go that way. And I also put on his winter gloves, and one thing that I forgot to mention is they are not hinged at all. They are just a swivel, which is kind of unfortunate. And also, the right one is a gripping hand right there. You can see there's a little hole going through. The one accessory that they should have included with him is when he walked into the tavern, he had a little satchel full of his lab equipment. I might custom make one day. If I do that, then I might do a tutorial on that. And as for our last head sculpt, which worries me in terms of putting it onto the figure, it's kind of just a socket, and then it just barely has enough plastic to connect to the rest. So let's see how this works. I don't think you can, no, you definitely can't push it from here. It's too soft. So maybe if you, yeah, you kind of just shove your finger in, push it down. I remember, this is another difference from the promo shots. This was black, I believe, this lower piece in there. I think that would have been a little bit better. I could just go ahead and repaint that. But if you look at it from the side, which is pretty much the money shot with this particular head sculpt, then it looks really good. And of course, to make this more screen accurate, I went ahead and threw on the goggles, and he looks even better. I will say though, if you're toying around with the goggles, do be careful, because this band, I could absolutely see it snapping if not handled right. Just nudge it on very gradually from each side until eventually the lenses go over the eye sockets. And also be sure that the nose bridge of the goggles is positioned properly, it's not upside down. I'm actually probably going to leave these goggles right on this head, because I'm not going to put it on this one because I wouldn't be as accurate. And this is, again, one of the scariest shots of the entire movie. And also taking off this head is no problem. You kind of just pull it, I guess, from the back. Yeah, and it kind of just pops off. It's not meant to be articulated at all. It's meant to just be slotted in like a peg. But again, it's fine. We only saw this look for him for about a second, so it's fine if you're just displaying him just from the profile, and then you remove it, and then where you get it, you know, his headless and handless look again, you could do that as well. As for one last posing possibility for Invisible Man here, we have him with his big old textbook and then also his potion, which, ooh, it just lends such a nice contrast to the rest of the figure. It's such a small detail, just a dash of purple, but it really just brings him back to retro science. I should also say that the hands are quite malleable and quite flexible, so you can get basically any accessory that you want into his hands, although it can be a little tricky. Kind of like here, I've kind of found the sweet spot, so you could sort of be holding the book with one hand. Oh, not even, but I guess you can get a little bit of a poster tack or something, so it's a little bit more stable, but all the hands are very nice. I'm not having any issues with any of them. We'll buzz through articulation pretty quickly because it's basically as you'd expect. This head is the most articulated of the three. Goes down, oop, kind of popped out the joint there. Be a little bit more careful than me, but it goes very good down to look over his potions. Goes up just a little bit, goes to the side, to that side, swivels all the way around, no issue. As for these other head sculpts, they're pretty much just swivel. At least this one's swivel. This one, again, you just poured it in and you leave it. I don't think you're getting any other movement from this particular head. Shoulders, swivel all the way around, hinge out, hinge back in. Elbows, single joint, but they go a little past 90. All of the lab glove hands hinge out and in. As for the winter gloves, again, they're just swivel. There's no hinge at all. On the torso, there's a ball joint hidden under this very nice suit he has, so he can do all the swivel you need. Go a little forward, a lot back, look at that, jeez, and then a little bit of side to side. As for the legs, they kick that much forward, not all the way 90, that's all right. Go back, actually more than I expected. They go out that far, go back in. You got a single hinge at the knees, not quite 90. As for the ankles, there's not a whole ton. There's actually an okay amount back. Oh, you know what? It's better than I thought. Okay, so actually, there's a good amount forward. I guess I was still warming up the figure, so it's more than I expected. And then you can also give him a fair amount of rocker. Now to compare him with some of his Universal brothers, he scales just fine with Boris Karloff as both the Mummy and Frankenstein's monster, and then he also scales very well with Lon Chaney Jr. as the Wolfman. And ooh, I love the coherency between all these figures, and the Invisible Man in particular really brings a dash of color to this collection. I can't wait to get more of them. They look so good. Now to compare him beside a few offerings from NECA of 80s characters, another excellent decade for cinema, we have NECA's Ultimate Jungle Hunter Predator along with her Ultimate RoboCop. Then to compare him with some other lines, we have him beside Star Wars The Black Series Kenobi Show variant of Darth Vader, along with Mego's silver screen version of Nosferatu, and these are both my favorite horror characters, perhaps of all time. I'd still be very hard-pressed to select which one's my favorite. Let me know which one you prefer in the comments. And then for last size comparison, here's the naked Invisible Man beside a monocaine-injected Muck-Muck. Now, as I mentioned earlier on, there's one more thing I want to do before I conclude this review, and that is throw on some extra third-party soft goods to emulate his first appearance when he first rolled into that tavern. So I will provide links to 2 of these in the description. Unfortunately, I do not have a link for this nice velvet hat, which I have modified to my own liking. I cut down the brim. I have a whole bunch of these hats. I originally got them for my Marvel Legends Spider-Man Noir, and I had these for years, so I decided to get one, trim the brim a little bit, and then also add a leather strap, so we're going to be using that. I also have actually a 1/6 scale scarf, which I will go ahead and cut down right now. And then I also have this really good trench coat, which I think will fit onto him just fine. So let me go ahead and throw all those on just for fun, just for kicks and giggles, you know? And oh man, I think I really like this look too. Looks like he's about to beat up some guy in an alleyway for information. But yeah, I'm probably going to tweak this a little bit, but this is most likely going to be how I'll be displaying him on my shelf. That's not to say because he's hiding a lot of really good details. It's just that this is a look for him that I really enjoy. So I'm going to be screwing around with this. And he's going to look like this for the rest of the review if it's all the same to you. But if you've been paying good attention, if you subtract all the soft goods I've thrown onto this guy, this figure, again, very, very excellent, up to NECA standard. The accessories department is absolutely incredible. Really adds to the meaning of this being an ultimate release, especially with this head here, which is the absolute showstopper, in my opinion. It looks really cool. It's just exactly the interpretation I wanted. Again, we get multiple looks of the Invisible Man. The second look is when he's in those really nice, lush plaid bathrobes with those conductor glasses, as apparently they're called, and that's one of my favorite looks for him. So knowing NECA, they might release Invisible Man again, but for the black and white version, we'll do one of him in that Kemp's estate garb, I guess you could call it. But no matter what look we get him in, even if he's totally invisible or just wearing pants, I really love this character, and I absolutely adore the movie. If you want to watch a very good black and white movie that's not too slow and has just the right amount of bonkers thrown in, absolutely watch it. It is such a great viewing, and it's quite brief too, so it won't take up too much of your time. But yeah, there you are, Claude Rains playing Jack Griffin in The Invisible Man. So if you enjoyed this little review, then as per usual, please be sure to like, comment,
and subscribe.
or like a whole bunch of monsters are gonna invade your home, Scoop! Zoinks! Blah! And that's pretty much a wrap. Again, we have a lot more to look forward to. Stick around for the blooper simple crap reel, so you can make a few creative decisions as to where this channel will go next. So yeah, thank you guys so much for watching, yet again, and I will see you all later. Hey Hey there, thank you guys for sticking around to see the reel as per usual at the end of each of these videos. As a special treat, I would like you to give me some input as to what figures from my pile of loot you would like to see reviewed next. Here we have Star Wars The Black Series Aayla Secura and Darth Maul as he was shown in the Clone Wars Season 7. We also have Spider-Man from Marvel Legends. They have some more Black Series offerings from the comic line, being Mara Jade, who I'm really excited about, Mike, and then also at last Marvel Legends we have Scorpion. So is there a particular figure here that you would like to see reviewed a little sooner? We're going to look at all of them, and I'm probably not going to do an unboxing on every single one of them. The one figure that I'm absolutely definitely going to do an unboxing of is Spider-Man over here, because as I've been saying throughout these reviews, he is in the new green packaging, and we need to have a look at that. Personally, I enjoy it, but there are some shortcomings that come with it, so we'll talk about that when we get there. But everybody here looks like a lot of fun, so let me know if there's a particular figure you'd like me to review sooner than later. The comments are nice and open, all there just for you to say whatever you want, just no slander or anything like that, and we should be fine. We're gonna look at all these guys eventually, so hold on to your butts. It's gonna be a lot of fun. Thank you guys so much again. Have a great day. Of course, I have a whole ton of other figures to pop open that are next to me right now, but it all starts today with the Invisible Man, which is looking... Can't you be somewhere else? But honestly, your eyeballs are probably going to be going up here. Just one of those days.